Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the final. We have Dignitas playing once again against mYi here. We already saw this match in the group stage, and now we have it in the grand final.
It's actually going to be an amazing rematch here between these two teams. Already out the gates, things that we've noticed is that Toronto was kind of a heavy contestant in the first set that we saw the two go head-to-head, and in this game, it seemed like nobody cared. It was like, who's Toronto? And showing that in this tournament, the meta is already kind of like, already made micro developments that are even between two teams that we've seen before.
And also one of the things that we see even a little bit more now is that we have finally teams starting to go up exactly against what mYi has been playing on the first day, that Rhaegar and Tyrande is always interrupted, this time with the Rhaegar ban actually, which forced Dignitas into that early Tacita. Now we have for the team to the left for mYi, Nurok on Li Ming, Darkmog on Sonya, Splendor on Karazim, HotS is playing Zagara, we have Blumby on Johanna, and for Team Dignitas, the support player, Bakery on Tacita, JPL on Mirrodin, Greymane played by Mane, Snitch on Lunara, and Whoopi is playing Zeratul. First map of the day of this best of 5 is of course Tomb of the Spiderqueen, and starting to the left side of the map, ladies and gentlemen, mYi has hopes here, of course, with the calls earlier in the game to the right side now, though we have their opponents, the team in red, and with a quick pause here, give it up for Dignitas!
Obviously, just a little bit of a maybe settings issue or something happening here between the two teams that would be figured out rather quickly here. But again, things that you were touching up on right before we got into this, already out the gates, the Rhaegar ban from Dignitas, right? Yeah. We've been talking all week kind of like where does Rhaegar belong, but specifically when considering mYi and their prioritization, they have been clutching onto that Rhaegar very, very tightly, and Dignitas already going like, well, what if you don't have the Rhaegar for your team?
And one of the cool things actually that we've seen already today is that a lot of the teams have not necessarily said, okay, Rhaegar is definitely one of those first picks that we need to have, but it's not only a good hero for us, we also pick it away from the opponent, and that gives us, so to say, a double value. We kind of disrupt their composition and at the same time add a very good support to our own setup.
Absolutely, and looking at some of the drafts that we saw here, one thing that stood out for me is this, I believe, at least when it comes to the late mainstream here, the first time we have actually seen Lunara picked without the Stitches. Being banned out, it wasn't even that it was like a feign into a Stitches, it was banned out right out the gates, and they still end up going with that pick on Lunara. Also, Dignitas showing their favor for kind of Zeratul. Slowly but surely, it seems like they've been kind of like liking that hero more and more.
One of the things with Stitches was definitely also an indicator when we saw Fnatic play, of course, against Dignitas with JPL on that Stitches. That was one of those things where mYi apparently looked at the game and said like, okay, we don't want to go up against this. The hooks were definitely strong that they threw out in this game, and now mYi trying to play this a little bit closer to home. They have a very strong setup here, of course, especially with that bot laner there, Zagara. Great vision on the map and one of the best heroes for Tomb of the Spiderqueen.
Absolutely. She'll provide a lot of control on this map here, and they're going to be looking for that 1-4 kind of rotations we talk about, the one man in the solo bot lane, because it is the safest lane, than having the 4 getting a wave clear, pushing between the two, trying to concentrate on controlling the shrines, kind of goaltending, if you will, around them to get those turn-ins, and stacking the gems as best as they possibly can. But the Lunara pick, I think, is a really big standout for me when it comes to the draft of Dignitas. How well they're going to be able to capitalize with that hero, I think, is crucial.
Yeah, it's a very aggressive setup that they're running here. They not only have that Lunara that I already pointed out, but at the same time, we're looking at that Greymane that Mane is playing against, so they can't jump in. The poke is amazing, the wave clear is strong, which is very important on this map, of course, and we also have that Zeratul. So if they get their shot at the back line, jumping a Zagara, jumping a Li Ming, there's a very big potential that they can get away with an early kill in these team fights.
Absolutely, and who they're going to decide to kind of put in the one lane when it comes to the side of mYi in the solo lane, who's going to be able to contest? I think, obviously, they have two really good ones. It's going to be kind of Zagara or Sonya, but when you're looking at Dignitas, they actually don't have one that directly stands out as necessarily great. There's a few that aren't bad by any means, but some that aren't kind of like great, like the Thrall, the Zagara, and everything else that we kind of know to be the standard here. But it looks like we may slowly get these the little bit of issues figured out here shortly here, Kaldor.
Yeah, we're going straight into the game right now. The game has resumed, so it's really time to shine here with our level 1 talents now also in play. And in this case, actually, we see Li Ming already going into the Force Armor.
Yeah, I actually like the pick when you're considering the Zeratul. Being defensive as you possibly can, I think, is absolutely crucial. Where they go with the rest of the build, though, is going to be interesting. We see normally, actually, with the skirmish here, head-to-head, Darkmont getting a little bit of poke. Dwarf Toss going to come out, and both teams are going to be going the safer route. But the Lunara Snitch already establishing dominance on the lane, getting an absurd amount of damage there onto mYi.
Yeah, Lunara is of course one of those heroes that can they can really start to burst the target. Talking about burst, Greymane down and immediately carries them falling as well. A trade 1-for-1 here with at this point mYi trying to pressure this even more. Both of the teams fighting for exactly what you pointed out earlier, Drat. They are going for the dominance in the 4 rotation between top and middle. Yeah,
and I feel like the kill potential there, a lot of it came down to Lunara. Maybe part of the reason they kind of prioritize her higher than we've seen in some of the other drafts. They're really well done in that part, but they do decide to send Zeratul as that kind of one on the bottom half of the map for Dignitas, and this is going to be into a terror that is known as Zagara in the solo lane. But the skirmish up here, again, Lunara, look at that spread damage she's been putting out. Nobody's truly like kind of dying, but she is saying, hey guys, I'm a threat.
Yeah, it's one of those things that we've seen a lot in the European scene before this tournament. I was actually very surprised that Lunara was a bit underplayed. The only cases when we've seen a Lunara, as he pointed out, were those Stitches compositions. But now on this map, once again, Snitch with the hero, especially Virtus Pro played a lot with Lunara before, but they haven't really shown the hero too much. But you have already said it, there's so much potential damage here, and it's very dangerous for mYi to venture out in the middle of the map and maybe get caught here.
And I definitely adore the Zeratul pick. Also, Murden trying to get a little bit of aggressive flank on the bottom half. Zagara goes out. Oh, but she senses it already there. Maybe stepping on a creep a little bit at some point. You're definitely giving a pretty heavy tell. JPL is not going to have much to do there.
Now, we've seen, of course, this map already played a couple of times here today, and one of the more important parts is really that you are trying to go into the web weavers, and especially if you time them well, if you get a web weaver wave with maybe the advantage on level 10, you can gain a lot of momentum here.
Absolutely, and one of the things I was talking about, how much I adored the Zeratul pick kind of in Dignitas draft, I feel like now putting him in the solo isn't in the end of the world, but not necessarily the best. Wubby taking a little bit, or getting a little bit of skirmish out here in the mid lane, a 5-man aggressive rotation, but both teams, honestly, just, again, they're going 1-4, just rotating as best as they can. None really seem to have that good of kill potential, or if they do, they kind of just go blow for blow.
Yeah, Wubby's still at the bot lane, but we will see him leave that bot lane soon enough to try and get some damage in with Zeratul, especially now that he has the Vorpal Blades as well. One of the important parts about the draft for Dignitas is also that with their pick on Tassadar, they already worked towards that Zeratul pick in the late game, limiting the potential vision of mYi here. And of course, with that mental acuity, there's also a great tool against the creep tumors as we see some action in the mirror. Darkmok again in trouble, and it looks like he's going to fall, trying to reach the well, but it's too late, and the second kill for Dignitas.
Yeah, and the gems are going to be able to be picked up, which is crucial when it comes to this map. But we already see Dignitas actually has an advantage when it comes to the turn-in here, which is really crucial. You can snowball this map very heavily here, so it's really good that they've been able to accumulate that lead already. Again, especially when I feel like they have a losing situation considering the bottom lane. Not being able to abuse Zeratul in this 4-man rotation, part of the reason he's appealing on small maps is because of his terror when he's rotating, right? Knowing where he is at all times, mYi actually has kind of a little bit of an upper hand here, and they're not winning the race.
Yeah, Zeratul is still at the bot lane, waiting for that level 7 talent to hit. We are going to see him come up to the middle eventually. Wubby is already going up against HotS once more, but the middle is being contested, and mYi is trying to claim the control over the 2 turning points again.
And we already see when we were kind of looking a little bit there on the bottom half, Zag has already taken out all the ammo on the bottom front wall against that Zeratul on the 1v1. That's what I was talking about. She's going to have a really hard time dealing with them. But the Vorpal Blade aggression here, that's going to be it. And that is 12 gems going down on the side of mYi.
And a great finish here. Mane jumping in, of course, immediately. But they have to be careful right now. There comes Johanna. Wubby is in a bit of trouble. Gets shielded by Bakery. Blinks away. And Mirrodin is also escaping. So they get a good kill, a slight leading experience. And Team Dignitas is moving away once again and hits level 7 just a tiny bit faster.
That was a really good job on the side of Splendor. He ended up ensuring the fact that those gems were not lost for his team, which is going to help with a potential turn-in or counter-turn-in. Either way, very beneficial, so good job. Heads-up play on his half.
And a very important level with the level 7 now here for Dignitas. They finally have Carla's Embrace on that Tassadar and can start it with a preload on the shields. That's going to be the crucial talent here for Tassadar. It allows the entire team to finally unfold some of the potential that they're hoping for with this draft. Of course, mYi mYi. They caught up, they have level 7 as well, but the slight lead allowed Dignitas to get the first Weapweaver wave.
And we've seen a all Q build so far on the side of Li Ming, which I actually really prefer them seeing going into, rather than kind of that E teleport beefy kind of build we see against most Zeratals there. But the turn-in is going to be confirmed for Dignitas here, and with that Lunara pickup, I feel like she's going to be able to, she's a great sieging hero, right? So this is another big advantage on the side of Dig, and I think they might be able to snowball this lead to at least half level at this point. I would hopefully, ideally, a full level, but Zag is such a terror down there.
Yeah, and in the middle of the map there we see that Lunara once again, Splendor is in trouble, goes to the well, escapes, but the rest of the team needs to be careful right now. Those Webweavers are still pushing at the bot lane. Zagara, of course, has great counterplay against it, especially with the battle momentum that she picked up on level 7. But here in the middle, this is where Dignitas is making their stand.
It's something to consider here. You see the amount of damage that Lunara is already putting out against her opponents. And actually, Karazim is probably one of the top healers to actually deal with her damage output. And she already is just kind of ripping into them. And so mYi is going to have to find a way to be able to deal with that poke. Vulnerability to flank is kind of where the Dignitas composition is weak against. But at the same time, you have Void Prison, you have Tacitar's Oracle, and a shorter cooldown even. The amount of zone and control Dignitas has, it's just already seeing this half-level lead. It's going to be scary if mYi as this game goes on.
That poke as well, especially when we had the level 10 and she can rely on the Thornwood Vines. Already we see Greymane just accumulating a ton of damage, siege and against hero, just with that cocktail build. And Mane is always ready to jump in to finish somebody off. And the fight is once again starting, but this time it's JBL on the receiving end. He has to move away here as Mane is trying to zone a little bit. Both of the teams trying to go for a few turn-ins here, and the control is important. Splendor has a lot of gems. Stormbolt misses. Once again, we're seeing them jumping in. Blumby with the attempt to go for the condemn here, but Mane and Jay need to back off, and that should allow mYi to turn in their gems.
And slowly but surely, Dignitas is closing in the race at 10 here. They're barely going to be able to survive this situation, getting a lot of damage out here, and actually a full kill going to go down. Li Ming actually getting caught out here. Wabi, meanwhile, trying to run away. The condemn coming out, going to be able to blink away, and mid lane, he's going to be going down, though. Dark Mark is getting a lot of damage onto him. Level 10 achieved, and Dignitas just went from a situation to where they had a minor lead, but they're just snowballing as hard as they can, and this is terrifying. If you look at this comp, you have the poke from Lunara, you have the Greymane poke post 16, and if anything goes bad, they just go Void and walk away from the situation. They have so many options with this lead that they have.
Dignitas with great play here. They were trying to prevent the turn on mYi pre-10, and they did that very well. It looked for a moment like they had to back off. Two of their heroes extremely low, but they were able to just interrupt a couple of times with that Greymane. Now they have the level 10s, and they get a second Webweaver wave, which is exactly what they were trying to do here. They're trying to limit the amount of gems on the side of mYi as well, and now with the Webweavers coming in once more, we are going to see the first forts fall.
And at this point, their opponents aren't even 10, right? mYi has really almost no opportunity to be able to deal with the situation. They will get 10 and be able to force a fight, but again, it's like, if you force a fight while your opponent has Webweavers, it's really not that great unless you completely, swiftly 5-0 wipe them. Otherwise, they get so much value out of everything else on the map here, again, pushing bottom and top. It just leads to a situation where you actually gain almost nothing, even if you wipe them here. They're trying to get the flank, but I don't know if it's enough.
Yeah, they're also going for Muradin, who can always jump out here. Another point that I also want to raise is that we don't see Dignitas going too greedy. We've seen it a couple of times here today where a team was able to get a turn in, but then they try to push a bit too hard before the Webweavers are there, lose the hero, and the entire turn evaporates. Now we have Blumby even under attack. He's completely isolated, and he is going to fall here eventually. Great play again by Dignitas. 6 kills against 1, and they are taking a massive lead in this game with Webweavers still active at the bottom of the map.
The most painful part about that kill when you are mYi is not the fact that you lost a person. It does hurt, but the worst part is that a majority of the, not a majority, but a large portion of the gems were on the Johanna. They just lost 26 gems for the counter turn, and keep in mind they do have a lot stacked here, but traditionally they'd be able to stack one turn in after another if they get that kind of opportunity, but now they are only sitting at 1. That is a lot to be losing.
And the big problem, of course, is that Dignitas once again is so close to the next talent that for mYi is going to be very, very difficult to turn these gems in. They already had to face 2 Webweaver waves, and once the Dignitas hits the next level, they will have an extra talent, which is going to help them to prevent further turn-ins from mYi.
Yeah, and now we're going to see 13 talent here is going to be on the advantage side for Dignitas, and one thing, it just gets scary and scarier when you think about where this build's going to go. Now we are going to be having the wormhole coming in, the amount of poke and harass he's going to be able to add to his team composition here. Wubby is going to be able to play that very, very well, but then also it gets worse. As it goes farther down the line, we have the option of Rending Cleave, the amount of poke that this comp can produce, and I feel like mYi doesn't have the engage to really be able to deal with it.
Yeah, unfair advantage now. Lunara going to help him with the damage even more. Muradin completely disrespecting Zagara as well, not even going for the Burning Rage here, which we oftentimes see as a counter to take these creep tumors down. Just saying, we are chasing you the entire time anyways. There's nothing you can do to establish map control. This map is under our control. We are going to get those gems again. And they are close to another turn-in, actually. They're already at 56 accumulated if they turn in those 33. And at this point, they might as well just go for the next web weaver wave and try to maybe push for keep already.
Yeah, something to really look at here when it comes to Dignitas' play is that they aren't moving past kind of the half-court line, right? They're just sitting there, they're wave clearing as best they can, and they have somebody in vision of both the top and the bottom shrine. See Tassadar zoning off the top, Muradin zoning off the bottom. They're ensuring that no one sneaks a turn-in. They know they have the advantage. They know they don't have to take any risk. All they do is they get the gems, they wave clear, and then they proceed to go, oh, you want to try and turn in? No, we're going to stop that, and then we're going to turn in on our own. And here we go, stacking an even bigger lead. Not even on the same talent here.
3 web weaver waves in a row now for Dignitas. They have the extra talent. They're starting to move in. The unfettered assault there on Greymane. We have, as you already pointed out, the wormhole. And this is going to be brutal for mYinsanity. They have no chance of reaching level 13 talents while they're defending against the web weavers here. And this is going to potentially even be in keep.
This is really painful to admit, but this is actually, once mYinsanity hits level 13, and they actually, they're going to rotate and try and take another fight past this front wall here. That's the best team fight mYi is going to get almost this entire game. They need to force it. I think if they act passive at that time, I legitimately don't think their composition scales enough to be able to deal with what Dignitas is able to do in the draft.
You're absolutely right. This is really what they have to wait for the 13 talent and then try to go for it. Once that 16 hits, things are going to get even worse for Dignitas. They will have, worse for mYinsanity. Dignitas will have a huge window of opportunity to push their advantage, and that's something that mYinsanity just has to deny them.
Yeah, and it's going to be here on this bottom keep wall. I would like to see, notice how Lunara has her Wisp actually blocking the flank point. That's what mYi needs to capitalize on. Really heads up play there. And Dig is being very passive. And they have, honestly, until they hit 16 spike, it's not going to be a huge lead, but I feel like a lot of teams, whoa, Wubby going in there. There's no heal left. That's going to be going down.
Oh, the wave!
They got him!
The wave, Splendor actually healing him, and then the wave comes in and takes him down. Down goes Zagara, and that's also close to 16 of Dignitas. Jump in again, and the next kill, it's a double kill. Down goes Sonya. 3-level lead, the extra talent. Dignitas is off to a great start in this best of 5.
And instantly, Dignitas understands that they want to be moving into the boss. They didn't even zone off of those 26 gems. They said, honestly, with our 16-level lead, we have 16-level talent tier advantage and a 3-level lead. All we need is a boss, and we're going to move in, and we're going to be able to siege up and do a lot of damage. You even see the goaltending all day on the side of Dignitas. Bakery being the safest to be able to do that. He's honestly going to be fine. He's going to delay. And now Zeratul making the rotation. Beautiful play on the side of Dignitas.
Splendor has 90 gems. 90 gems, and here's the Void business. They're going for the fight now. The entire team rotates in. The boss is already moving up to the top. They can try to take someone down there. Snitch once again on the Lunara, trying to go in for the slow as well. It's Splendor. That's 90 gems gone. 90 gems just down the drain, and they chase the rest of the team as well. Karazin down, Li Ming down, and they're not stopping there. Dignitas is going in for the kill against Zagara once again. It's a triple kill, and they are going to obliterate mYinsanity here.
Yeah, in the upper half of the map, they're most likely going to be losing this keep. Actually, Sonya putting up a pretty good amount of damage into that, but they're going to be losing the keep on bottom as well. It's just an amazing amount of damage, and the 90 gems now. No counter turn in on the side of mYi. The goaltending denying it the entire game, forcing your opponent to stack up gem after gem after gem. One misplay on your bank, and that's all it takes for you to be in a situation where it's like, what do I do to come back from this game?
A brutal setback for mYinsanity. They were already on the defensive, but they had their hopes to get on the even talents and then fight. At this point, it looks like it's already hopeless. Once again, Dignitas moves in. They get their cam. They don't get it. mYinsanity actually is trying to jump for it. Here comes the palm. Triggered. Haslov's about to fall. And what about Sonya? She's trying to go for the kill against Mena, but there's immediate help. And once again, Greymane is able to get away for a moment. There's the kill against Karazin, the kill against Sonya. It's close to a wipe. Again, 5 versus 2 situation on the map, and Dignitas takes them them apart one by one. They dictate every single move in this game now.
And that was, honestly, other than the 16-tier advantage that they obviously are fighting into, mYi, that was the first fight they were able to force, and it was obviously a really good choice that they did that without Void. If there was a Void in that situation, it would have just been GG there. So maybe, hopefully, if you are mYi, how do you come back from this game? The best shot that they have is getting 16-tier advantage, and then trying to bait a Void in some way, shape, or form, and then trying to force a fight after. But honestly, they're in a situation where that's such a specific, so difficult to pull off play, especially when Dig's playing the safe.
It's 14 kills against 1 right now, and Dignitas knows that basically there's no chance for mYi to win this game anymore unless Dignitas makes a massive, massive mistake. So they're playing the safe right now, and there was a trap actually already set up because mYi realizes they have to get some kind of kill wipe, maybe an early kill before the fight actually starts. They don't even have a level 16, which they're aiming for, of course, but they lost the keep at the bot lane. The top lane keep is already down to half health, and Dignitas is just aiming for the next turn, and they're gonna get it here. And they up on a push for structures once again and getting closer to level 20, of course.
Yeah, and it's a situation where because where all the minion waves are pushed up, the Web Weavers are going to gain a lot of value in all 3 lanes. They have Giants pushing on bottom. They have the Web Weaver in a good position on top. And it's going to be threatening core on bottom. Honestly, all they're going to be looking to do is get this keep down. The minute that gets done, I honestly wouldn't be surprised. Expect a Void, a hard force, and then look for core. This is such a rough spot if you are on the side of mYi.
If they can go for another kill here, they can finish the game. Already the bot lane is being pushed by the Siege Giant. Can the Web Weavers coming into play now as we speak in the mid lane? We already have the Web Weaver in position at the top lane, the same picture. And here comes again JPL with that Stormbolt. Lunara follows. Nurok with a bit of damage here with his Li Ming with the Disintegrate, but Blumby is down to half health, has to be healed. And they're moving away once again. Sonya actually trying to defend against the Web Weaver down to the bottom. But finally level 16 talents. This is the time when they can try to maybe make something happen now on even talents.
I will say that that Dignitas actually, they're getting a little bit harassed here actually. Gonna take the fight. It's coming out here. The VP, a huge mob.
Great moment, the Void Prison is there as well, and mYi forcing the battle. Now that they have the 16 talent, but Hazorps falls again as the Maw is still active. Once again, they're jumping in, and we're seeing Splendor super low. Snitch saves himself on Lunara, can turn around for extra damage. They're going for Dark Mode, the palm not triggered. They go for him. Great synergy, great communication here on the side for Dignitas. They go for the kill. They take everybody down. The level 20s are there any second right now, and Team Dignitas is going to claim the victory here. Just cleaning house at this point, taking Johanna down, and with a 4-level advantage, Team Dignitas decides game number 1 in their favor.
17 kills to 1. That was, I think convincing, it might be an understatement at this point. There was not a single turn-in at the side of, I don't even know if they got a single, they got 8 gems in the entire game. Yeah. 8 gems were turned in by mYi.
They lost 90 gems on Charism alone when they thought they could go for a safe turn-in. And let's just like reflect that situation for a moment. When did they try to go for the turn-in? When we had a boss attempt by Dignitas up at the top, but Bakery stayed down, delayed long enough. Zeratul comes in, helps them out, drops the Void Prison. The rest of the team finishes the buff, moves in, they slow them down, and I think they got a quad kill on top of all of that as well. It was an insane situation, and Dignitas just in full control of this game.
And a lot of the times we've been talking about decision-making from teams and whether or not, obviously you want to be pushing your advantage, but we've seen a lot of teams kind of take more than they can actually get, and it kind of gets into a situation where they actually are punished. That entire game, I would argue they were probably a little bit too far on the safe side, but Dig very much made sure they did not take a single risk that they didn't have to take.
I'm very, very curious to see what our analysts have to say about this start in a best of 5 that everybody was anticipating. Let's give it up for James and the boys.